Innovation and change are almost a given in today's rapidly evolving marketplace. What can organizations do to enable change and create better experiences for their customers and employees? Well, hello everyone. My name is Yvonne Chan, and joining me in the studio to discuss this topic with me today are Mr. Vikas Sinha, the Head of Operations Excellence at Prudential Singapore, and Ms. Chitra Parnaik, the Lead Business Analyst at Capgemini Singapore. Welcome, Vikas and Chitra. Now, Prudential has always been an organization that puts its customer well-being at the heart of all that it does. And in this session, we want to focus on what goes on behind the scenes to ensure that the entire organization is able to fully support its customers in enabling groundbreaking change and innovation. And so I'd like to kick us off with a question for Vikas about OPEX, or operational excellence. Tell us what exactly it is and how does it enable change and innovation within Prudential?
Thanks, Yvonne, for that question. OPEX, in its core, it's basically something which helps us to achieve our purpose, Prudential purpose, which is helping people to make best out of their life. So that's what OPEX is all about. Okay, we want to really improve the experience of our customers. We want to drive continuous improvement, and OPEX helps us or enable us to do that. Now, how does it do it? We have three pillars of OPEX that we call it. So the first one is OPEX Academy, which helps to build the capability of people and improving and driving continuous improvement. And second one is OPEX Consulting, which basically helps us to execute any strategic or transformational projects that we have. So we have a pool of internal experts, right, who are good in transformation and driving change projects. So they are the ones who drives this. The third one is something called Center of Excellence, which basically drives process automations or automations using new technologies. Okay, so that's what OPEX is. In summary, it is what it is. I just want to add one more thing to that. Is OPEX also, whatever we do in OPEX, it's about balancing three things. Okay, number one is voice of the business. Okay, so our shareholders, our stakeholders, whatever they are asking us to do. Voice of the customers, so whatever our customers' expectations from us are, and the voice of employees, the engagement part. Okay, so we hear all these three voices, and through OPEX we try to balance this. So whatever we do in OPEX is basically balancing these three voices when we deliver it. A very good example is in 2019 we rolled out a solution called Pulse, okay, which is one of our mobile apps that we rolled out. It's been rolled out in around 12 countries, and we have almost have the app in like 10 different languages, and I think till date we have 13 million downloads, okay, which tells that it's really something which people are using, right? Mm-hmm. So OPEX was also one of the teams which was working on this Pulse solution, and they basically helped to make this a reality of translating whatever the Pulse vision was to making sure that it is executed in a way that people wanted, and then rolling it out into the market.
So you talked about balancing all these different components, right? Using that one common company-wide methodology and also promoting this culture, I believe, of continuous improvement. Chitra, is this one of the common challenges that's faced by the workforce in the insurance industry? How do you still remain staff-centric when you're faced with a multitude of systems?
So yes, that is one of the biggest challenges, right? Today, as a user, if I have to issue a policy, I have to log into a legacy policy administration system or a document management system, communicate with my agents and partners on emails or chats, and have communications with my cross departments separately.
Sounds so complicated.
Yeah, so it adds on to your day-to-day tasks. So we are enabling this change by building a one-stop solution wherein the underwriters can do risk assessment, policies can be issued, claims can be settled, and we can address policy servicing requests.
One-stop solution. That's the key word there, right? So you guys are coming up with a one-stop solution to streamline processes and make the lives of the employees a lot easier. Sure. So this also frees up more of their time so they get more out of life. Before we delve into that one-stop solution, I want to come back to Vikas and ask you about capability building, which I know is really big at Prudential. And given that this year's Singapore FinTech Festival theme centers around people and talent development, tell me, why is capability building so important at Prudential, and where does your OPEX Academy come in?
See, one thing which I'm sure everybody would agree that as we move ahead, there are certain challenges that we see, right? Challenges in terms of the speed of digitalization today, the change in customer expectations.
Oh, yes.
External factors, pandemic, COVID, okay, which forces us to make those changes. And hence, people cannot have the same capability and drive those transformation and changes, right? So we need these new skills, new capabilities, and people have to be ready for that, okay? And hence, capability becomes the centerpiece of it, okay? People become the centerpiece of everything. And within Prudential, one of our core commitment to our people is capability building, right? And we want to do that. And OPEX Academy, how do we do it? As part of the OPEX Academy, we have three things. One is looking at the quality part of it. So we do it through Quality Academy, which is looking at experiences and how to improve those experiences, okay? So that talks about the continuous improvement part, yeah? The second part is the Technical Academy, okay, which looks at the core competencies of insurance like underwriting, claims, customer service, and looking at where people's learning curve are, and then trying to kind of have programs across these journeys where they can improve their skills, right? So that's improving the core insurance skills. The third one, which is the most critical one, is the Digital Academy, right? Everything has to be digital. And if people have to be part of that digitalization journey, then digital skills become very important, okay? So we look at certain skills which people need for this digitalization. We try to impart that through the Digital Academy, right? But the most important part is the fundamental of this whole OPEX Academy is it's not a training program, it's an experience-based learning. Okay, what that mean is that whatever we do, okay, we first look internally in terms of what our people need, right, in terms of their learning. Whether they are processing a claim, so they want to know more about a claim. If they are doing underwriting, so they want to learn about underwriting. Process improvement, how to do process improvement, for example. So we take these as training programs, we'll build those training programs, and then when we deliver these training programs, it is delivered through a kind of an approach where people are not only learning the methodology, but as they go along, they are adopting it, okay, right away. So what happens is, it remains with them, yeah, the learnings remains with them, it doesn't just go away somewhere, okay. So that's, yeah, so that's,
It
yeah.
sticks with you,
So, I mean, that's the whole point of having that academy part, which driving programs through people, okay, which they want and how they want it to be driven. And we just, I mean, it's not too long ago we launched this academy in Jan 2020. And since then we have trained almost like 300 to 320 people, which is sizable number if you look at Prudential, and the feedback has been great. Yeah.
I just want to get into even more detail now, Vikas. You know, what other ways does OPEX drive innovation, but at the same time still making sure that your people and talent development remain a top priority?
Yeah, so, okay, good point. Innovation, I think it's Prudential's one of our core value, okay? And whatever we do, and when I talked about the purpose part of it, innovation drives that, okay? Whatever we do, we want to be innovative in terms of creating solutions or creating anything that we want, both for our external customers and internal, right? So in OPEX, what we did was, we thought, okay, let's create something which helps us to look at internally, at least our processes and everything, and helps our own staff, our own people, right? Because sometimes they are the most ignored ones, and nobody looks at them, right? So we said, okay, let's create a center of excellence with all these new technologies that we hear about, whether it is robotics, RPA, or AI, or machine learning, or NLPs, and there are many more technologies, right? And so we created this COE with the idea that, okay, let's try it out. Okay, let's be innovative. Let's do some proof of concept. And if it works out, let's scale it up. Let's build that solution, right? So that's what, when the whole idea of setting up that OPEX COE was. And what happened was, when we built up this COE, we also knew that we have to work and partner with a lot of these fintechs and insurtechs to build and bring in some new solutions, right? And that's where we work with quite a lot of them. We rolled out in 2019 itself, some of the solutions we picked it up, which we rolled out in 2020, like automating our underwriting engine. We looked at our claims process, and we said, okay, how do we make it far more simpler using some of these new technologies, and many more actually. I mean, we have delivered quite a few solutions using all this AI and machine learning processes. But the key one, which we rolled out this year, is something called the operations ecosystem, okay, where we wanted to build an ecosystem for our own internal staff, which helps them to simplify their own life, their own processes, and look at the processes as they want it. Okay, so that's the automation we wanted, so that they work with one system rather than with multiple systems that normally people work with. Okay.
It makes life a lot more easier too. Chitra, can we get you to elaborate on a little bit more on how this operations ecosystem works? Because I'm sure many in the audience today would be very interested to see how a solution still manages to be staff-centric.
Yes. So like Vikas spoke about having certain objectives behind developing this solution, and one of those key objectives was to have an interconnected and an iterative solution providing real-time data for monitoring and improvement. So imagine yourself as an underwriter. I have these data-driven dashboards providing me with activity insights and a total visibility on my assigned tasks. I have visibility on the SLAs, which can help me meet my agency and partner commitments. The solution is intelligent and intuitive by telling me where I need to focus my priorities for the day. So these priorities can be set based on, for example, certain campaigns run by our agents and partners, or addressing our high net worth customer requests first. It also provides me with the data wherein I know how much time I'm spending on each activity and help me identify my own improvement areas, right? As a team lead, I get this single view of the team's activity, which is especially useful for me during the month ends when the volumes are high, right? It helps me in load balancing and making a well-informed decision. One of the other objectives of the solution was to provide a rule-driven and a data-driven workflow, wherein I, as a user, I don't have to be concerned about the workload being too more, or maybe the incorrect assignments being given to me, because the logic at the back end takes care of your role, your activities, your capacity and availability for the day. And one of the biggest advantages of the solution is that it is built using the artificial intelligence and machine learning based algorithms for data processing, data extraction and validation, and enabling to trigger workflows, having us these touchless operations, right? So as a user, I get this single view of the customer. So the solution actually can get or absorb content from, say, a hard copy submission or an email or a mobile upload, right? So the solution being integrated with the multiple applications not only helps me in making better or faster decisions, but by predicting and identifying the bottlenecks, I know where to monitor my process proactively. So it helps us achieve operational excellence for our customers, people, and partners.
That's fantastic. It's such an intuitive, smart system that really enhances productivity. And like you said, it can't, it kind of is able to tell whether you're overloaded, whether you have capacity or not, and capabilities. So on the flip side, you can't tell your boss, I have too much work, because the system would have just allocated what you can do, right? So super smart. I really like that. But it does also sound, guys, that the team has achieved a lot in a relatively short span of time. So with more projects in the pipeline, more innovation expected, what does OPEX hope to achieve?
No, for 2021, the plan is to even do more, especially on improving the staff experience, okay? Because what we believe definitely in OPEX is that if you improve the staff work experience using the technologies which are available to them, I think that drives more engagement, that drives more productivity. Okay, productivity may be in a wrong, I mean, it's a wrong connotation in a way, but I would say it drives more engagement and loyalty towards the organization, okay, because it helps them to make their life simpler. And the last thing which is very important for me is that, which I always believed in, that if you really have to win in marketplace, okay, we have to first win in the workplace. If your people are internally happy, they will always make your customers happy. Okay.
Speaking of your people being internally happy and having to win in the workplace before you go into the marketplace, I really like that motto. You've put your staff through 3 different academies, right? Digital, technical, as well as quality. Did I get that right?
Yes.
You see, I've been paying attention. So you put them through these 3 academies. What was the feedback like from your employees?
Well, the feedback has been great. One feedback has been the difference they see from the normal trainings. Okay, like in a normal training, you have your trainer, your slides, and your classroom or a virtual training, which happens these days, right? So that's the combinations that you have got, and it's all content, right?
Yeah.
You don't know whether the person who is actually going through that training actually understands all of that, right? Or even takes back anything. In OPEX, whatever we do, first of all, we look at the real problems. We look at what people want, our staff wants, and which can help us to drive that mindset of continuous improvement and improving customer experience and all of that. Okay, so what is the requirement first? Okay, what do people need? So we take those and we develop certain programs like in quality management or technical or digital. Once that is done, we develop live projects or real life simulations, which basically people can actually apply it while they learn it. So most of the programs that we offer, it could be a 1-day program or a 2-day or a 5-day program, but most of this are delivered through an actual project, okay, where people can actually adopt whatever they have learned. And hence, their feedback has been great. They say, okay, something which when I go out even after 5 days, I will remember it forever, okay, so
it's very hands-on.
Very hands-on.
Right, and it's not, like you said, just textbook learning that is just one-sided,
yeah.
but it's two-sided as well. For a question for the both of you then, do you have any words of advice, for fintech firms who are, or maybe non-fintech firms who are watching today and who might, be really impressed with how this OPEX Academy is working, and they might want to adopt a similar fintech solution, but they have reservations about embarking on this approach, which is rather out of the box? What would you say to them? Let's start with you, Chitra.
I would echo what Vikas said earlier about putting your people first at the backdrop of having an end-to-end transformation. So I think giving the key value proposition to your workforce is extremely important in helping you also win your customers in the end. Yeah.
Vikas.
No, I definitely echo that. For me, what is important is that we talk about our customers, okay? We talk about their ecosystem, we talk about our distributors and their ecosystem, but we never talk about our people who are in the back end, actually, who are doing the work, okay? And we never talk about their ecosystem because they also have to work with multiple systems.
That's right.
Yeah, how do we connect all of that? Okay, how do we bring that together so that at least we make their life even better? Yeah, so that is something which is very, very important, right? So hence, the whole point of creating this operations ecosystem was that how do I bring that little things which people do using system 1, 2, 3, and 4, how do I merge all of this 1, 2, 3, 4 into something which not only solves their problem in terms of the automation problem, but also it gives them, they should feel it that this is a system which listens to me rather than I have to learn the solution and then do the work.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's something which is important.
So this ties back into how a solution still manages to be, a system or a solution manages to be staff-centric.
Yes.
And just before we conclude, because I have both of you in the hot seat right now, a quick question for you. Because you said don't forget the people who are putting this together, right? Have you been through any of the academies under the OPEX Academy, the digital, technical, and quality, that's right. Which ones really stood out for you? Which ones do you like?
For me, a digital one is important. All three are important, equally. But digital is important because of the kind of transformation today happens, and especially the speed of transformation, right? And it's all about digitalization. And because of the pandemic, because of COVID also, some of these things have accelerated a little bit.
Yes.
So people need to learn the basic skills of digitalization, right? So hence, digital becomes very important. But equally, technical, if we are in insurance, so we also need to improve our underwriting and claims and everything. And similarly, if you have to create new experience, then quality becomes important, right? So
you kind of one without the other. Right, Vikas? What about you, Chitra?
I think I would go with both digital and the technology academies because I think it definitely helps us do our jobs better. Thank you.
And it does sound, so exciting, so much to look forward to. And I do believe that, the projects that OPEX is involved in will certainly bring about the change that is required for an organization to stay relevant in these ever-changing times. You can find out more about one of the projects that OPEX was involved in by scanning this QR code to download Pulse. Till next time, a big thank you again to Mr. Vikas Sinha and Ms. Chitra Parnaik for joining us in the studio. My name is Yvonne Chan. Stay well, and I'll see you next time.